Hello. Hi, Ces, folks,
Everyone.
listeners to the Liminal Writing Podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for
Indeed.
joining us again and for listening in. Now we're ready with a fresh one, which we wrote just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Again, this is Liminal Writing, 10 minutes of timed, free flowing writing that comes from a trigger word that we both kind of just scour
Or,
around for,
or a trigger phrase in,
or
in
a
this
trigger
instance.
phrase.
Yeah.
So this one's
And
from Lee again, who found it in one of the books he's now reading. Oh,
it's called The Rumi Perspective by Melody Moezzi.
what's the subtitle there on top?
The subtitle says, How an Ancient Mystic Poet Changed My Modern Manic
I
Life.
think I need to read that. Okay, so let's go. Let's go for
Yes.
this.
You go
Sure.
first.
Okay, be brave. Okay,
Yes, as you always are. Go.
so the quote is: You went out in search of gold, far and wide, but all along you were gold on the inside. That's a quote from Rumi.
The mystic,
So
the
this is what
poet,
I
the
wrote.
philosopher, and lover.
Because no one told me there was gold in that space within, they made me chase rainbows to find the spot where they end. But every time I tried to run towards rainbows, they would disappear, as would the prisms that made them burst into colors. Wiser and older, I have learned to admire with awe rainbows from the distance, across fields, atop fort ruins. Wiser and older, I have learned to sit in silence, to hear the voice that says, You are special, you are kind, you are beautiful, you just are. Wiser and older, I have learned that what no one had told that little girl, that she shines from the inside, that I shine from the inside, that I am gold, I am old gold. I do not shimmer all the time, but I shine with the right light, and I shine brighter in the dark.
Nice.
That's my
Okay.
favorite. Oh my God. Your
All
turn.
right. Here's mine. You went out in search of gold far and wide, but all along you were gold on the inside. The weight of treasures, instead of hobbling my steps, made solid on the grounds I cover. My eyes wander past the hills, skim the horizon, and long for vistas unknown. These treasures, the feeling of being loved, the intense satisfaction of doing good work, the delight of a beautiful smile, and the knowing nod of a friend who knows. Gold in the moment it happens, gold ever shining in the passing years, gold that I carry till it coats me inside.
Hello. Had a good feeling to it. That's where it led us.
Yeah.
Okay. How
Tell
are we
us,
going to process this?
tell me about your thought process just before you started writing and what was
Hmm.
going through your mind too as you were in the
That
process of
first
writing.
line about no one told me that
Mm.
jumped into my mind when you first read it, when you said, This is a good line
Yeah.
from the book you were holding. And I said,
Yeah.
immediately, it was actually with a little bit sarcastic tone from a little girl,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess, from me. Um, and it basically, yeah, no one told me that kind of thing.
Mm.
But at the same time, I I think I mentioned this to you. Uh, that was always something I communicated to others as a facilitator. You know, that gold mine
That,
theory that I told you
yeah.
we'd use in the theater workshops, that there's a
Yeah.
gold mine in each one of us.
Yeah.
Remember when we did theater, especially people's theater, we were basically saying everyone can do theater,
Mm.
everyone can create. It's digging that, finding that gold mine inside each one.
Yes.
And that was what I always conveyed. And even as I moved into development work and applications of theater and community practice, and even in processes where we do meetings now and strategies, it's always sticking to that prime thing of belief that there is something that someone can offer, whether it's a
Yeah.
voice of experience, a perspective,
Yeah.
a unique way of analyzing things and bringing in context and stuff. This is what it's Rumi saying. There's gold. You don't have to look far and wide for it. There's gold in each one of us, and I think I've
Yeah.
practiced that a lot, even in my profession. But the irony of it is, I didn't see that until very much later in my life.
So
That
growing up, you didn't
that
get
it
that.
was in me. At the
Mm.
same time, I still continue to question it up to now. That's why I think in previous conversations, we talked about imposter syndrome and how
Yeah.
it attacks me a lot, despite, a lot of successful engagements and places I've been in terms of career and even personal achievements.
Yeah.
It wasn't, because no one told me. I was actually told the opposite, or at least that was what was communicated to me by my early childhood experience from
Yeah.
people who were supposed to take care of me and nurture me. There were personalities around me that actually told me I was the opposite. I wasn't gold.
Yeah.
I think this one's ended with a bit of defiance, what I wrote, because in the
Yeah.
end, it's like saying,
It's
yeah,
acknowledging that you
yeah,
realize that,
yeah.
yes, inside of you, inside of each of us.
And that last line where I shine brighter in the dark.
Yeah.
It's an image that came while I was writing, is that this darkness and then this spotlight on a gold, and then it's even more, it comes out even more shinier because you come from darkness. When I write from a space of having been through so much ugliness
Mm.
and abuse,
Yeah.
that's when I think I've shone brighter.
Yeah. Definitely. Because you know what it felt like not to be acknowledged for the treasure that you are, right? I also liked your line where you acknowledge that as gold inside, you don't always shine as bright.
Mhm.
So there are times that you will kind of just sit there. Parts of you, I think, will be glowing. It's not like a whole,
It doesn't always
strobe
have to
light.
shine. You just know
Yeah.
it's precious.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember my grandma had an old gold, and it wasn't shiny, but
Yeah.
it's
Precious.
precious because it's got its weight in gold, but it's also has history. And you just know it's precious, but it's not
Yeah.
shiny, glittery,
Mm.
showy kind.
Yes. Yeah. When you talk about the history of it, to me at least, it's mostly true about the emotional connection to the gold that you're bringing out into the world. Right? And realizing that not all people will see it as gold, but I think as long as
Exactly.
we ourselves who carry our gold inside believe that it is, then there's no question about
Because
it
there are
that it
people who may
is.
see you and you're actually kind of this lump of gold, and they see you as shit
Yeah.
because they don't recognize gold or
Yeah.
whatever, or it's not polished in the way they want it, or
Yeah.
shaped or formed into some fancy jewelry that they associate with gold.
Yeah.
But you're actually this one solid rock of gold. Or even, as I like also your imagery of melted gold that kind of coats you on the inside,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because it can liquefy, right? You liquefy
Yeah.
gold. So how about you? How did you end up in that? Because that was stuck with me, the whole coating. It's kind of liquid that then shapes into into the
Yeah.
container.
Like the starting line that I have was about is acknowledging it's a treasure. Because, like, I don't know, maybe some people don't see gold as a treasure, right?
Hmm.
So I name it as something that's a treasure, something that is precious, that's important, that has deep meaning. And then I thought, so if I am that, if I carry that inside of me, wouldn't that be heavy? But I said, but it's not hobbling my steps. It's not something that bogs you down,
It's part of it.
especially if it's us acknowledging what we have inside. So for me, it's like, no, these are things that are precious. They are they are here. It doesn't imbalance me. It doesn't inconvenience me, and it doesn't hinder my journey. Right?
Nice.
Yes.
Can we repeat the line again? So Rumi said, you
Yeah.
went out in search of gold far and wide, but all along you were gold on the
Gold.
end.
Yeah.
So think about
He
it.
was a
Those who joined
terrific
us.
writer.
I know.
When you look at it, it's a
Mm,
simple truth and
very simple
very
truths.
powerful. So
Okay.
kudos to the ancient mystic that wrote it. And thank you for the book and the
Melody
author
Moezzi.
for the inspiration.
I'm gonna read that, the Rumi
Yeah.
Prescription. All right.
Cool.
On that note, give liminal writing a try. Just get it out there. Because there's gold inside of it. All right.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, folks.